I'm going to give you 5 practical tips that you can start implementing right now to prevent overuse running injuries and fatigue. And maybe 1 or 2 of those will surprise you. Salut, c'est Safe Motions. Now, before we go through the point that I think is the most important, let's run through a few things that you can fix right now. Your overall body posture. That's because outside of training errors or perhaps your injuries in the past, running mechanics is a very, very good predictor of future injuries. As an illustration to that, in 2018, this study identified a number of global kinematics contributors to common running injuries, like it says right there. This study identified a number of global kinematics contributors to common running injuries, which means your running technique influences your risk of injury. In particular, runners who were leaning forward from the trunk were at a higher risk of injuries. These are runners who lean forward from the hips instead of leaning forward from the ankles. So think about being nice and tall with your chest up, a tight core, and get your body to bend forward from the ankles. It's almost to the point where you should feel like you're going to tip over and fall over your toes, but don't fall. The next change is really simple, and it's been shown to reduce stress fractures in female runners by a staggering amount. If you're one of those, listen up. I'm sure you've all heard about this tip: increase your cadence. And cadence is the number of steps that you take per minute. In this study from 2021, increasing your running cadence by 1 step, that's just 1, reduces your risk of stress fractures by 5%. So you don't need to increase your running cadence by a huge amount. Just a little bit is enough. Bear in mind, it's totally possible that your cadence may be too high already, especially as you get older, just because of atrophy of the calf muscles. If you find that your cadence is already at around 190 plus, then don't increase it. You should be looking more into strength training, and your direction should be more about opening your stride. But if you're below 60, I'm going to assume that your cadence is too low. Probably. Just a little tip, just look on the internet for songs that are at the cadence that you want to go to and follow the rhythm of the song. Whoops. By the way, fun fact, did you know that 84.4% of recreational runners had a running injury in the past? And that almost half of recreational runners had a running injury in the past year. 1 out of 2 of us got injured in the past year. And if you've learned something new from this video, please give it a like. One of the more common reasons for running injuries in terms of running mechanics is overstriding. So how do you prevent that? Many coaches will tell you that you're supposed to hit the floor with a forefoot, not the heel. Well, I've never been a fan of that. That doesn't prevent you from overstriding. You can perfectly overstride and hit the floor with a forefoot. And heel striking in and of itself is not a problem. So with regards to overstriding, you're going to stop focusing on how your foot lands, heel, midfoot, forefoot. You're going to focus more on where it lands, and it should be under a bent knee. Overstriding is really when your knee is straight in front of you and you're trying to reach out with your foot as far forward as you can. To prevent that, I want you to think about knee drive. So it means instead of driving your foot forward as far as you can, drive your knee forward as far as you can. Knee drive, knee drive, knee drive. After that, the job is done. Let your leg unroll naturally onto the next step. I have a whole video somewhere out there about how to train your knee drive. So make sure to, check the channel. Now, as you drive your knee forward, it's really important to also counterbalance with your shoulders. So when the right knee is in front, then your left shoulder should be in front as well. It's body's mechanism of counterbalance. Otherwise, try and do the opposite. I'm sure you'll end up on the floor. Actually, don't try. That brings me to tip number whatever. Use your shoulders and arm swings for rhythm. If you're having issues with the cadence that we talked about earlier, then you can use your elbows and pull them backwards to the beat of the song or to the beat of the cadence that you want to run at. But remember, you're pulling your elbows back, but it's really a shoulder rotation that's happening, or a counter rotation to your knee drive. All of this goes together. And last but not least, vary the terrain that you run on. Don't only run on a running track or on concrete or on the treadmill. Just vary the surfaces on which you run on. You don't necessarily need to go trail running for that, but just changing shoes, rotating between 2 or 3 pairs of running shoes might be enough to change the terrain underneath your foot so that you don't get into an overuse injury. Because remember, overuse means that your body's doing the same thing over and over again. That's what causes overuse injuries. Bring variety to your run, bring variety to your feet. talking about feet, it's great that you change terrains and change shoes and everything, but if your feet are not strong enough to support your upper body, then you can't expect to be in good performance and to prevent running overuse running injuries. So in choosing your shoes, and if you're doing strength training, don't forget to strengthen the intrinsic muscles of the foot or the foot core. And if you don't know what the foot core is and you want some exercises to train them, check out this video and I'll see you there. À bientôt!